Hello and welcome to this week's news bulletin from the Christian Institute. The House of Lords has voted to reform a controversial law that criminalises insulting words or behaviour. Peers voted by 150 to 54 in favour of an amendment by Lord Dear to remove the word insulting from Section 5 of the Public Order Act. The move was welcomed by Reform Section 5, a campaign backed by the Christian Institute, the National Secular Society, the Peter Tatchell Foundation and many others. Earlier in the week, the group had staged an event outside the Home Office to raise awareness of the issue, with Peter Tatchell playing the part of an arresting police officer. Simon Calvert, campaign director of RS5, said he was delighted at the result of the Lord's vote, commenting, "Freedom of speech is such a vital part of British heritage, but this law has seen many people suffer simply for speaking their mind. Now it's up to the government to decide whether it's going to allow tonight's vote to stand." The minister of St George's Tron in Glasgow has preached his last sermon in the building, with the Church of Scotland having now repossessed the premises. The Tron congregation, which has been meeting there for more than 70 years, split from the kirk in June over the ordination of openly homosexual ministers. Since then, the church has been embroiled in a legal dispute over the building, which recently underwent a £2.6 million refurbishment paid for by the congregation. But last week, law officers appeared at a church prayer meeting, demanding the return of Bibles, hymn books and an organ. The minister, Revd Dr William Philip, described the kirk's actions as shameful. He said, "Having law officers disrupt a church meeting and intimidate a church is something we associate with China or former Soviet dictatorships, but is the last thing we expect from the so-called national church." Culture Secretary Maria Miller has been giving details about the outcome of the government consultation on gay marriage. But during the announcement in Parliament, Mrs Miller failed to acknowledge the hundreds of thousands of people who signed a Coalition for Marriage petition calling on ministers to retain the current definition. Colin Hart, campaign director of C4M, said, "Supporters of traditional marriage have been misled by the government. We had assurances by the civil service that individual signatories to the petition would be considered as a consultation response. Those assurances have proved to be worthless." And former Defence Minister Sir Gerald Howarth said Maria Miller should accept the consultation exercise has been a complete sham and that the government had made up their mind in advance what outcome they wanted. It's thought that the government intends to bring a bill to Parliament early in the new year. Churches and religious bodies have been saved from a potential avalanche of equality challenges following an important ruling. The Supreme Court, the highest in the country, has ruled in a case brought against Mid Sussex Citizens Advice Bureau by a volunteer known only as X that volunteers are not covered by the same discrimination rights as employees. Judges decided the EU employment discrimination law does not extend to volunteers. This protects churches from litigation over volunteer posts such as Sunday school teachers or home group leaders. The court also ruled that there is no need to refer the issue to the EU Court of Justice in Luxembourg. The Northern Ireland Assembly has passed new regulations aimed at banning all-you-can-drink fixed-price promotions. Social Development Minister Nelson McCausland told the Assembly that over 250 people died in the province in 2011 as a result of alcohol misuse. Pubs of Ulster Chief Executive Colin Neal welcomed the move. He said, "The forthcoming legislation will strengthen our efforts to combat irresponsible retailing of alcohol, though we believe there is even further scope for additional legislation to curb irresponsible discounting of multiple purchases in supermarkets." And finally, over the next couple of weeks, we're going to bring you two special features reviewing key stories which have featured in our news bulletins during the last 12 months. There have been many important issues which impact on Christians in the media this year, so we start our review of the year by taking a look at the first 6 months of 2012. Here's Sam Mason.
There was a controversial start to the year after a report from the Commission on Assisted Suicide suggested that adults thought to have less than a year to live should be able to ask doctors for drugs to end their life. The report came in for widespread criticism for its biased approach. Bideford Town Council was told in a High Court judgment that its democratic decision to hold prayers as a formal part of local council meetings was unlawful, but the government acted swiftly to restore freedom to pray for English councils. And Coalition for Marriage was launched. The campaign group was formed to back the current one man and one woman definition of marriage and oppose government plans to redefine it. An investigation ordered by then Health Secretary Andrew Lansley revealed that up to 1 in 5 abortion clinics could be breaking the law by falsifying consent forms. And 2 TV personalities, Delia Smith and Melvin Bragg, both launched stinging attacks on atheism in public life, warning that people of faith are under attack. In April, Baroness Howe launched a bill in the House of Lords aimed at protecting children from online pornography by urging internet service providers to introduce an opt-in system for adult content. And Gloucestershire County Council removed all references to God from its prayer spoken at the start of council meetings following complaints from just 3 councillors. Reform Section 5 was launched. The campaign group is calling for the word insulting to be removed from Section 5 of the Public Order Act. The current law has led to many controversial police arrests. And the Advertising Standards Authority came in for criticism after launching an investigation into ads placed by the Coalition for Marriage which simply endorsed the current law on marriage. Schools Minister Nick Gibb told Channel 4 bosses to remove explicit sex scenes from their sex education video Living and Growing, which is used in primary schools. Channel 4 have subsequently withdrawn the video from sale. A petition containing 500,000 signatures calling for the traditional definition of marriage to remain unchanged was handed in to 10 Downing Street and the Home Office. And as part of the Queen's Diamond Jubilee celebrations, a special Thanksgiving service was held at St Paul's Cathedral.
And we'll bring you the second part of our review of the year next week. Don't forget, for more information on any of the stories featured in today's bulletin, plus much more, visit our website at christian.org.uk. Until next time, goodbye.